Marcus Kane had learned many things in his 6 months on Carveth Prime, but the most important was this: respect on this world was earned in the arena, nowhere else. The planet's warrior culture was absolute. Social standing, political influence, even marriage prospects, everything was determined through ritualized combat. The Carvathi didn't just respect strength, they worshipped it. Their entire civilization was built on the philosophy that true worth could only be proven through physical contest. As Earth's diplomatic envoy, Marcus had two choices: adapt or fail. He chose to adapt. He trained obsessively with Carvathi combat instructors, learning their fighting styles, their weapons, their honor codes. His human body would never match their natural advantages. The Carvathi were taller, stronger, faster, with enhanced reflexes honed by millennia of evolution. Their elongated, pointed ears could detect the slightest movement. Their bioluminescent markings, which covered their skin in intricate patterns, pulsed with emotions that made reading opponents easier. But Marcus had something they didn't: human stubbornness and strategic thinking. When tournament season arrived, he entered against the advice of his diplomatic superiors. "This is insane," Ambassador Chen had said during their holocall. "You could be killed. Or worse, embarrass humanity by losing badly. With respect, Ambassador, if I don't compete, I'll never be more than a curiosity to them. A soft diplomat from a soft species. They'll never take our trade proposals seriously." But he'd been right. His first few victories, hard-fought battles against lower-ranked warriors, earned him grudging acknowledgement. His human endurance surprised them. His unorthodox tactics confused them. He wasn't the best fighter, but he was unpredictable. Then the quarterfinal brackets were announced, and everything changed. "Commander Valara," his Carvathi trainer Dorek said with sympathy, "you have drawn the worst possible opponent." Marcus studied the tournament displays, seeing her record: 3 consecutive championships, undefeated in 72 professional matches, holder of the planet's highest combat rating. "Tell me about her," Marcus said. Dorek's markings pulsed with respect and something like fear. "Valara is different from other champions. Most fighters have weakness somewhere. She has none. Her speed is exceptional even for Carvathi. Her strength surpasses many males. Her tactical mind is brilliant, and her determination." He shook his head. "She fights like someone with nothing to lose." "Everyone has weaknesses." "Perhaps, but no one has found hers in 3 years." Marcus spent the night before their meeting reviewing her fights. Dorek was right. She was exceptional. Her movements were fluid yet powerful, her technique flawless. She adapted to opponents' strategies faster than they could implement them. But Marcus noticed something else. She was predictable in her superiority. She'd never faced a true challenge in years. Her patterns were ingrained through countless easy victories. She expected to win, and she always had. That could be exploited. The pre-fight meeting was held in the ceremonial chamber, a vast space with walls covered in trophies from centuries of tournaments. Warriors and officials filled the room, all present to witness the formal challenge exchange. Marcus entered wearing traditional combat attire, loose pants and wrapped torso, leaving his arms free. His skin looked pale and soft compared to the Carvathi surrounding him, unmarked by their natural bioluminescence. Then Valara arrived, and the room's atmosphere shifted. She was magnificent, tall even for a Carvathi female, with a warrior's build that was both powerful and graceful. Her hair was midnight black streaked with natural silver, marks of honor among her people, earned through combat experience. Her amber eyes scanned the room with predatory awareness, missing nothing. And her markings, gods, her markings. They pulsed bright crimson along her arms, her neck, visible even through her formal attire. Battle fury, barely contained. Her entire body was a weapon, and she radiated danger like heat from a sun. Marcus's breath caught despite himself. She noticed his reaction, of course. A slight smile curved her lips as she approached, circling him like a predator assessing prey. "So this is the human who has caused such interest," she said, voice carrying to all present. Her speech was precise, each word chosen carefully for maximum impact. "You have won minor victories against those who underestimated you. Impressive for your species." Marcus kept his expression neutral. "And you have won major victories against those who overestimated themselves. Equally impressive." Her eyebrows rose slightly. She hadn't expected wit. Her markings flickered with interest before returning to crimson. "Your species is soft," she continued, resuming her circling. "Built for thinking rather than fighting. Your muscles are weak, your reflexes slow, your body's fragile. You have survived thus far through tricks and luck. Against me, neither will save you. Perhaps, or perhaps you've never faced an opponent who thinks differently than you." "Differently how? All opponents fall the same way at my feet." Marcus allowed himself a small smile. "We'll see." Something shifted in her expression. The casual contempt gave way to something more focused. She stopped circling and stood directly before him, close enough that he could see the intricate patterns of her markings in detail. "You amuse me, human," she said, voice dropping to something almost intimate despite the watching crowd. "Such confidence from one so outmatched, so let us make this interesting." She raised her voice so all could hear clearly. "If you beat me, I'll be in your bed tonight." The chamber exploded with reaction. Shocked gasps, incredulous murmurs, even some outraged protests. Such wagers existed in Carvathi culture. Combat and intimacy were closely linked, but were reserved for equals. For their greatest champion to offer such terms to an alien was unprecedented. Marcus understood immediately what she was doing. She wasn't seriously offering herself. She was demonstrating supreme confidence. She considered defeat so impossible that she could stake the most personal prize without risk. It was ultimate insult dressed as compliment, suggesting he was worthy of her bed while making clear he'd never claim it. Smart, calculating, and designed to throw him off balance. Two could play that game. "I accept," he said clearly. Now it was Valara's turn to show surprise. Her markings flared bright orange, shock before she controlled them. Her eyes narrowed, studying him with new intensity. "You accept," she repeated. "You realize what you're agreeing to. When I defeat you, and I will, you will be humiliated before the entire planet." The human who thought he could claim Commander Valara, crushed like the insect he is. "And when I defeat you, you honor your word. Because that's what warriors do, isn't it? Honor their wagers." Her jaw tightened. She trapped herself with her own arrogance. Refusing now would show fear, questioning whether he might actually win. Proceeding meant acknowledging that her wager had real stakes, not just empty taunt. Her markings shifted through rapid colors, frustration, anger, then settling on something Marcus hadn't expected, respect, however grudging. "Bold for one who will be unconscious within minutes of our match beginning," she said. "Very well. The wager stands. Tomorrow you face the undefeated. Prepare yourself, human. Prepare for the fastest defeat of your life." She turned sharply and left, her markings pulsing with complex colors that Marcus couldn't quite interpret. The crowd parted for her automatically. Doric appeared at Marcus's side, his markings pale with concern. "You should not have accepted. She will destroy you." "Maybe, but she expected me to refuse. I've already surprised her once. That's more than most have managed. Surprise will not stop her blade from finding your throat." Marcus watched the doorway where Valara had disappeared. No, but strategy might slow it down enough. That night Marcus didn't sleep. He reviewed every recording of Valara's fights he could access, watching them in slow motion, analyzing her patterns. He noted her preferences, her habitual responses, her strengths. Then he planned. He couldn't beat her in straight combat. She was too fast, too strong, too skilled. But humans had their own advantages. Their endurance was exceptional. Evolution had made them persistent hunters who could outlast prey through sheer determination. Their capacity for pain tolerance and pushing through injury was remarkable by galactic standards. And their ability to adapt, to think creatively under pressure, to find solutions others missed. Marcus crafted his strategy. It was risky. It required surviving her initial assault long enough to implement. But it was his only chance. Morning arrived too quickly. Marcus dressed in his combat attire, checked his weapons, the traditional dual short blades called kreshka, and made his way to the arena. The facility was massive, capable of seating 50,000 spectators. Today, every seat was filled. Carvathi from across the region had come to watch their champion face the human challenger. The air hummed with anticipation, markings creating a sea of pulsing colors. Marcus entered the arena floor to mixed reactions. Some jeered, their markings showing contempt. Others watched with curiosity. A few, those who'd seen his earlier matches, showed something like interest. He took his position in the combat circle, the ritual space marked by ancient stones. The morning sun cast sharp shadows across the sandy ground. Then Valera appeared at the opposite entrance. She looked different in full combat attire. Her armor was minimal. Carvathi valued mobility over protection, but what she wore was clearly high quality, earned through her championship status. Her markings pulsed brilliant crimson, her entire body radiating battle readiness. She stalked toward the circle with predatory grace, eyes locked on Marcus. There was no trace of yesterday's amusement. This was Valera the warrior, the undefeated champion, the most dangerous fighter on the planet. Marcus's heart rate increased despite his training. This was real. No more preparation, no more planning. Just him and the most skilled warrior he'd ever faced. They took their positions across the combat circle from each other. The referee, a senior warrior whose markings showed complete neutrality, stood between them. "Warriors," he announced in the formal tone required by tradition, "you have both accepted this match. You have agreed to the wager proposed. The combat will continue until one yields, is incapacitated, or receives a killing strike. Honor your training, honor your wager, honor the arena." He looked between them, ready. Valera's markings pulsed with eager violence, ready. Marcus steadied his breathing, ready. "Begin." The referee stepped back quickly. Valera didn't wait. She launched forward with speed that was breathtaking. One moment stationary, the next her blades were flashing toward Marcus in combination that should have ended the fight in seconds. Marcus barely blocked, his arms jarring with the impact. Gods, she was strong. Her strikes carried power that seemed impossible from her frame. He gave ground immediately, defending frantically as she pressed her attack. His training screamed at him to find openings to counterattack, but there were none. Her technique was flawless, each strike flowing into the next in deadly poetry. The crowd roared approval as their champion dominated the alien challenger. Valera's markings blazed with battle joy as she pressed harder. This was her element, her purpose, her life. Combat was where she was most alive. Marcus focused on survival, nothing else. Block, parry, dodge, retreat. His arms ached from absorbing her powerful strikes. His lungs burned as he tried to maintain pace with her movements, but he was still standing. 30 seconds in and the human hadn't fallen yet. Valera noticed. Her eyes narrowed slightly and she increased her intensity. More complex combinations, faster transitions, strikes that came from unexpected angles. Marcus defended desperately, taking hits he couldn't block. Pain exploded in his side where her blade connected, then his shoulder, then his thigh. None were killing strikes. Tournament rules required clear, incapacitating blows, but they hurt. The crowd's cheering shifted as minutes passed. The human was losing clearly, but he wasn't defeated. He kept standing, kept fighting, kept surviving. Valera's markings began showing frustration alongside the battle fury. She'd expected quick victory, to humiliate him decisively. Instead, she was having to work. And Marcus was learning. Every exchange taught him something. Her slight right-side preference, her habit of following high strikes with low sweeps, the tiny pause when she transitioned between combination sets. He filed away each observation, building a picture of her patterns while he bled and bruised. 5 minutes. The match had lasted 5 minutes. Valara's longest bout in 3 years had been 4 minutes 20 seconds. Her frustration was showing. She launched into a devastating assault, her most aggressive yet, clearly intended to end things decisively. Marcus saw his opening. Instead of defending her overhand strike, he ducked under it and rolled to her right, her weaker side. As he came up, he struck at her shoulder with perfect technique. His blade connected solidly. The arena went absolutely silent. Valara staggered, shock rippling across her features. Her markings flared white, pure disbelief. She'd been hit. First time in. She couldn't remember how long. Marcus didn't celebrate. He reset his stance, breathing hard, pain throbbing everywhere but mind sharp. Valara turned to face him, and for the first time he saw something other than contempt in her expression. There was respect there, however grudging, and something else, interest. "You have some skill, human," she acknowledged, voice carrying to the silent crowd. "But one lucky strike does not make victory." "Then come earn your victory properly," Marcus replied. Her markings flared crimson again, but now they held something else. Challenge accepted. She attacked with new purpose, no longer dismissing him as easy prey. This was Valara giving him the respect of full effort, and it was terrifying. Marcus fought for his life. The next 20 minutes were the most intense of Marcus's existence. Valara attacked with everything she had, the full force of 3 championship seasons, 72 undefeated matches, decades of training honed to deadly perfection. Her blades flashed in patterns that seemed to ignore physics, her body moving with grace that belonged in dance rather than combat. Marcus survived through desperation and stubbornness. He took hits, many of them. His ribs cracked under one powerful strike that he couldn't quite block. His left arm was bleeding from a cut that had slipped past his guard. His legs screamed in protest with every movement, but he stayed standing, and he kept learning. Every exchange revealed more of her patterns. Not weaknesses exactly, she had none, but habits. The rhythm of her breathing, the tell in her shoulder before certain strikes, the way she reset her stance after complex combinations. He landed his second hit at the 12-minute mark. A quick strike during her transition that caught her arm. It was glancing, barely more than touch, but it was contact. The crowd's disbelief was palpable. Valara's markings cycled through colors Marcus hadn't seen before. Frustration, yes, but also something that looked like excitement. She was enjoying this, he realized. After years of easy victories, she finally had a challenge. "You are stubborn, human," she said during brief pause in combat. "I underestimated your species' determination." "Most do," Marcus replied, breathing hard. "It's one of our better traits." She smiled, genuinely smiled, before attacking again. The pattern of the fight shifted. No longer was it champion dominating challenger. It became a true contest, 2 warriors testing each other's limits. Valara's superior skills versus Marcus's relentless endurance, her devastating power against his strategic thinking. At 18 minutes, something changed in the arena. The crowd's hostility had shifted to reluctant respect. They were witnessing something unprecedented, their greatest champion being challenged by an alien who shouldn't have lasted 18 seconds, let alone 18 minutes. Marcus's body was failing. He'd taken too many hits, lost too much blood, pushed himself beyond safe limits. But his mind remained sharp, still analyzing, still planning. He noticed something. Valara was tiring. Carvathy physiology was built for explosive power, for ending fights quickly with overwhelming force. Extended combat wasn't their strength. They won through superior skill and speed, not endurance. Humans, evolved as persistence hunters, could maintain effort longer. Marcus shifted his strategy. Instead of trying to match her offense, he focused entirely on defense and conservation. He blocked more efficiently, moved only when necessary, let her expend energy while he preserved his own. Valara recognized what he was doing. Her markings showed anger. He was using his species' weakness against hers. "Coward tactics," she snarled, Fight me properly. I am fighting you properly, my way. She redoubled her assault, trying to finish him before her endurance failed. Her attacks became more desperate, less controlled. And with less control came more openings. Marcus landed his third hit, then fourth. Nothing decisive but contact. Each one cost him dearly. Valara made him pay for every strike, but he was hitting the undefeated champion. At 25 minutes they were both exhausted. Valara's markings pulsed with colors that showed deep fatigue, something her species rarely experienced in combat. Marcus was running on pure willpower, his body screaming to stop. They faced each other across the circle, both breathing hard. "You are remarkable," Valara admitted between breaths. "I have never faced anyone like you. I'm just a human who doesn't know when to quit." "Perhaps that is your species' greatest strength." She straightened, gathering herself. Marcus could see the decision in her posture. She was going to end this now, one way or another. She would commit everything to a final assault. This was it. She launched forward with speed she shouldn't have had left, blades flashing in what was clearly her most devastating combination. It was beautiful and terrible, death made artistic. Marcus made his choice. Instead of defending, he attacked simultaneously. It was suicidal, trading blows with the most dangerous warrior on the planet. Madness. But it was his only chance. They committed to each other at the same instant, bodies moving on pure instinct. Pain. Valara's blade connected with his shoulder, cutting deep. The impact spun him partially, agony exploding through his nervous system. But his blade found its mark too. Center mass. Perfect technique. A strike that in real combat would be killing blow. They separated, both staggering. Valara looked down at where his blade had touched her center. The strike was clear, undeniable. By tournament rules, she was defeated. The arena was utterly silent. 50,000 Carvathi holding their breath. Valara raised her head, meeting Marcus's eyes. Her markings cycled through complex emotions: shock, disbelief, anger. And then unexpectedly they settled on bright gold. Recognition, respect, honor. She laughed. The sound echoed through the silent arena, genuine, amazed laughter that held no bitterness. "Well struck, human," she said clearly, voice carrying to every spectator. "You have defeated me, fairly, honorably, through skill and determination I did not believe your species possessed." She stepped back and performed the formal gesture of yielding, crossing her blades before her and bowing. "I acknowledge defeat. You have won." The crowd remained silent for several heartbeats. Then sound erupted, not cheering exactly, but something more profound. The collective processing of something impossible. Their undefeated champion, fallen to an alien. Tournament officials rushed forward, verifying the strike. Marcus stood swaying on his feet, pain overwhelming his senses, barely conscious of the activity around him. The lead official raised his arms for attention. "The strike is legitimate. The match is decided. Marcus Kane of Earth is victorious." Now the crowd reacted. Some with anger, some with disbelief, but increasingly with grudging respect. The human had fought honorably, used legal tactics, and won through genuine skill combined with his species' natural. Medical personnel reached him, beginning to assess his injuries. Marcus let them work while his mind spun with complications far beyond physical wounds. He'd entered this tournament to prove humanity worthy of respect. He'd proven something, certainly. He just wasn't sure what. The medical facility was efficient and impersonal. Carvathi healers treated Marcus's injuries with professional skill, regeneration technology for the deep cuts, bone-knitting fields for his cracked ribs, cellular repair solutions for the extensive bruising. Physically, he'd recover fully within days. Mentally, emotionally, diplomatically, those wounds were more complex. "The human ambassador requests immediate communication," one of the healers informed him. Also the Carvathi Military Council, also tournament officials, also several media organizations. "Tell them I'm recovering and will respond when able." The human ambassador was most insistent. "And I'm most injured. Later." When they finally released him that evening, Marcus returned to his quarters with deliberate slowness. Every step gave him time to think about what he'd done and what came next. He'd won a combat tournament on an alien planet. That was significant. He'd defeated their undefeated champion. That was unprecedented. He'd won a wager that entitled him to have said champion in his bed. That was complicated. His quarters were in the diplomatic section of the city, comfortable by human standards but modest by Carvathy measures. He entered expecting silence and solitude, time to think through his options. Instead, he found Valara. She sat in his main living space, looking out through the window at the city below. She wore civilian clothing, flowing garments in deep blue that highlighted her markings rather than concealing them. The battle fury crimson was gone, replaced by complex patterns in gold and purple that pulsed slowly with her breathing. She rose when he entered, moving with the same grace she'd shown in combat but without the predatory intent. "You came," Marcus said, surprise evident in his voice. "I honor my word always." She studied him with those amber eyes. "Did you think I would not?" "Honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. I gave my word in formal setting before witnesses. In our culture, that is sacred. To break such oath would be to lose all honor." She paused. "Even to an alien." Marcus moved further into the room, maintaining respectful distance. "Valara, about the wager. You wish to discuss terms. Understandable. The circumstances are unusual. That's one way to put it." They stood facing each other, tension filling the space between them. Marcus realized this moment would define not just their interaction, but potentially the entire human-Carvathy relationship going forward. "I want to be clear about something," he said carefully. "I didn't fight you for this. When I accepted your wager, it wasn't because I wanted to claim you as some kind of prize. I accepted because refusing would have shown fear, and I needed to prove that humans deserve respect on your world." Valara's markings flickered, surprise, he thought, though he was still learning to read them. "You are saying you do not wish what you have won." "I'm saying I don't want someone in my bed who's there from obligation rather than choice. That's not how humans view such things." "How interesting." She moved closer, not threatening but definitely reducing the distance between them. "And if I told you I am here by choice, that your victory has shown me you are worthy in ways I did not expect, that I find myself curious about you in ways that go beyond honoring a wager," Marcus's breath caught. "Then that would be different." "Different how?" "Then we'd be two people who respect each other, choosing to explore that respect further. Two equals meeting by mutual decision rather than one person claiming a prize." Valara's markings warmed to softer colors, curiosity, interest, something that might be attraction. "You humans have strange ways. In our culture, combat victory proves worth beyond question. The winner has earned their prize. The loser honors their debt. It is straightforward, clean. And in our culture, connection between people, especially intimate connection, should be mutual choice. Consent isn't just given once and forgotten. It's ongoing agreement between equals. Yet you fought me. You accepted my challenge knowing its stakes. I fought to prove human worth. The challenge was the arena." He met her eyes directly. "This here between us, this is different territory. Combat was about species. This is about people." She was quiet for a long moment, markings shifting through thoughtful purples. Then she moved to sit on his couch, gesturing for him to join her. He did, maintaining appropriate space. "Tell me about your culture," she said. "About how your people view combat and intimacy. I wish to understand." They talked for hours. Marcus explained human views on consent, on relationship building, on how attraction and respect could coexist with uncertainty and vulnerability. He described how humans valued choice in personal matters, how forcing connection rarely created lasting bonds. Valara listened intently, asking questions that showed she was genuinely trying to understand rather than just hearing words. Her markings shifted through countless colors as she processed concepts alien to her worldview. In return, She explained Carvathi culture more deeply than Marcus had learned from any briefing. Combat was sacred to them because it revealed truth. You couldn't hide who you really were when fighting for your life. Victory in combat proved worth beyond doubt. That's why their entire society was structured around it. When I offered myself as wager, she said, I was not being careless. Such stakes are reserved for when the outcome is certain. I was demonstrating absolute confidence in my superiority. By accepting, you showed either incredible bravery or foolish arrogance. Which was it? I thought arrogance then. Now I know it was bravery. Her markings pulsed with respect. You fought knowing you were outmatched in every physical measure. You won through qualities I did not value: patience, endurance, strategy that prioritized survival over glory. You taught me that strength has many forms. You taught me something too. What? That I'm capable of more than I believed. I entered that arena expecting to lose with honor. I never truly thought I could win. But when you pushed me to my absolute limits, I found resources I didn't know I had. A good opponent does that, reveals what you are truly capable of. You're definitely a good opponent. She smiled, genuinely smiled, and the expression transformed her severe features into something almost soft. Perhaps. Though I would have preferred to remain undefeated. I imagine so. How are you handling the defeat? Her markings darkened slightly. With difficulty. My entire identity was built on being unbeatable, champion, untouchable. Now I must reconstruct my understanding of myself. She paused, though there is freedom in it too. The pressure of maintaining an unbroken record is considerable. I hadn't thought of it that way, that it might be a burden. Everything can be burden when carried too long. She looked at him with those amber eyes. You carry burdens too, I think. Your diplomatic mission, your need to prove humanity worthy, tonight's consequences. Marcus nodded. Tonight is definitely complicated. Need it be? You won honorably. I am here willingly, not just from obligation. We could. She searched for words, follow where curiosity leads. See what develops between us without forcing outcome. You'd be comfortable with that. No obligations, no expectations, just two people getting to know each other. I think. Her markings glowed softer gold. I would be very comfortable with that, Marcus Kane. You have earned my respect through combat. Let me now choose to know the person behind the warrior. Relief and something warmer flooded through Marcus. I'd like that too. I've been fascinated by you since I first saw you, but I want to know you, not just admire you from distance. They spent the rest of the night talking, not about combat or wagers or diplomatic implications, but about themselves. Marcus learned about Valara's childhood, raised in military family with expectations to exceed all previous achievements. Her rise through combat ranks, the loneliness of being untouchable, the pressure that came with being symbol rather than person. She learned about his path to diplomacy, his fascination with alien cultures, his belief that understanding between species was worth any personal cost. She found his persistence, the same quality that had won him the match, was central to everything about him. As night deepened, their conversation became more personal, more intimate. They sat closer together on the couch. Valara's markings shifted through colors that Marcus was beginning to recognize as attraction, vulnerability, growing trust. In your culture, she asked softly, what happens when two people have reached this point? When respect has become interest, when curiosity has become connection? They explore it further, carefully, respectfully, but openly. And physically. Marcus's heart rate increased. Only if both truly want it, only with clear consent, and with understanding that it's not transaction or obligation but mutual desire. Valara considered this, her markings pulsing thoughtfully. Then she made a decision that showed clearly in the way her patterns shifted to decisive gold. Marcus Kane, she said formally, you have one right to have me in your bed through combat victory, but I do not wish to be there as your prize. I wish to be there as your equal, two warriors who have tested each other and found unexpected respect, Two people whose curiosity has become something more. Will you accept me on those terms? Marcus took her hand, human gesture of connection that she seemed to understand instinctively. Her skin was smooth, slightly cool but warm beneath where her markings pulsed. Those are the only terms I'd accept. What followed was intimate in ways that transcended physical. Two people from different species learning each other's bodies, yes, but also learning trust, finding common ground and shared vulnerability. Their connection was built on foundation of mutual respect earned through combat and deepened through honest conversation. Valera's markings glowed with colors throughout their intimacy, pleasure in warm golds, trust in soft purples, moments of joy in brilliant silver. Marcus found reading her emotions through those patterns more honest than any human's words could be. And for Valera, human vulnerability, the willingness to show emotion openly without hiding behind cultural armor, was revelation. His responses told her things that Carvathy Reserve would have concealed. They learned each other that night, not just physically, but essentially. Two beings from different worlds finding connection that neither had expected. When exhaustion finally claimed them, they lay together in his bed, human and Carvathy, former opponents now something much more complicated and potentially much more beautiful. The wager had been honored. But what they'd found together was worth far more than any bet. Morning brought reality crashing in. Marcus woke to find Valera already alert, sitting up in bed, her markings showing complex colors. Worry, contemplation, determination all swirling together. "Good morning," he said carefully. "Is it good, I mean?" She turned to look at him. "What we did last night, it will have consequences. I know, not just for us, for our species' relationship, for my standing in society, for your diplomatic mission." Marcus sat up beside her. "Do you regret it?" Her markings pulsed as she considered. "No, I regret nothing about last night. You treated me with respect I did not expect from one who held power over me. You saw me as person rather than prize. That was precious." She paused, "But I am realistic about what we face today." Before Marcus could respond, his communication terminal beeped urgently. Ambassador Chen again. He'd ignored multiple calls yesterday, but he couldn't avoid this forever. "Give me a moment," he told Valera. He answered the call on audio only. Chen's voice was stressed. "Kane, finally, do you have any idea what's happening? Your victory has thrown the entire diplomatic situation into chaos. The Carvathy are divided. Some respect what you did, others see it as humiliation. The media is going insane, and there are rumors about Commander Valera's wager. The rumors are accurate," she honored her word. Silence. "Then, you're telling me that you, with their greatest warrior, last night after winning." "I'm telling you that we're two people who found mutual respect through combat and chose to explore that respect further. Marcus, this could destroy everything we've built here, or it could be the greatest diplomatic coup in history. The Council wants to see you immediately. Both of you, if possible." Marcus looked at Valera, who had clearly heard the conversation. She nodded. "We'll be there in 1 hour," Marcus said. "Kane, whatever you do, be careful. Everything depends on how we handle this next part." Marcus ended the call. "He is right," Valera said. "Today determines much. How we present what happened between us will shape how both our peoples interpret it. How do you want to present it?" She stood, beginning to dress with efficient grace. "Truthfully. We fought with honor. You won through legitimate means. I honored my wager. We found mutual respect that developed into connection. It is all true. And us? What are we now?" She paused, turning to face him. "What do you want us to be? I want to know you better. What we found last night wasn't just physical attraction. There's something here, connection that could become significant if we nurture it. But I also don't want to complicate your life or damage your standing." Her markings glowed with warmth. "You are concerned for me, for my reputation." "Of course. Last night you said you were trying to reconstruct your identity after defeat. I don't want our relationship, whatever it becomes, to make that harder." "Marcus Kane, you continue to surprise me." She crossed to him, placing a hand on his chest. In my culture, what we have done would be seen as logical extension of combat victory. You proved yourself worthy through battle. I acknowledge that worth by honoring wager willingly. That I found our connection meaningful beyond simple obligation. That is private matter between us. And publicly, I am Commander Valara who honored her word after rare defeat, maintaining my integrity if not my record. You are human warrior who earned respect through legitimate victory. Everything else is our business. They dressed and prepared to face the consequences. The meeting with the Carvathi Council was held in their formal chamber, impressive space with walls covered in combat honors stretching back generations. 10 council members sat in semicircle, all senior warriors whose markings showed various attitudes ranging from hostile to curious. Marcus and Valara entered together, presenting united front. She wore her formal military attire, markings controlled to show calm professionalism. Marcus wore his diplomatic uniform but moved with warrior's confidence earned through his victory. High Counselor Dreven spoke first. This council has much to discuss regarding recent events. First, Marcus Kane, your victory over Commander Valara was legitimate. Our officials have confirmed this. You fought honorably within our rules. Your combat skills, while different from ours, proved effective. This council recognizes your victory. Marcus bowed respectfully. I am honored by your recognition. Second, the wager made before the match. Commander Valara, you offered personal terms that are reserved for serious challenges. Explain yourself. Valara stepped forward, posture confident. I offered the wager in supreme confidence of victory. My record supported such confidence. That I lost does not change the honor of my word. I fulfilled my obligation as Carvathi custom demands. You spent the night with an alien, another counselor said, markings showing disgust. Our greatest warrior used by an outsider. Not used, Valara interrupted firmly. Respected. Marcus Kane treated me with honor throughout our interaction. He gave me opportunity to withdraw without dishonor. I chose to fulfill my wager because he had earned that right through combat and because I found him worthy beyond just victory. The council exchanged glances. Marcus spoke. Honored counselors, if I may address concerns directly. Dreven nodded. I entered your tournament to prove humanity worthy of respect on your world. Your culture values combat above all else. I understood that proving human worth required meeting you on your terms. My victory over Commander Valara was not designed to humiliate her or your people. It was demonstration that humans possess qualities your society values, just expressed differently. He paused, choosing next words carefully. As for the wager, I accepted because refusing would have shown fear. When I won, Commander Valara and I discussed terms privately. I made clear that I did not wish to claim anyone as prize. What developed between us was mutual choice between two warriors who found respect for each other. That respect has nothing to do with conquest and everything to do with recognition of worth. Counselor Dreven studied him with ancient eyes. Pretty words, human, but actions speak more clearly. You fought without tricks, won through skill and determination. You honored our combat traditions while bringing your own strengths. And according to Valara, you treated her with respect even when you held power over her. I did, because that is how humans value such interactions. Interesting philosophy. He turned to Valara. Commander, you have lost your undefeated record. How do you feel about this? Valara's markings flickered before she controlled them. Initially, I felt shame, but reflection has brought perspective. I lost to a warrior who earned his victory honestly. My record is broken, yes, but my honor remains intact. I fought my best. He fought better, not through superior strength or speed, but through qualities I had undervalued. Persistence, adaptability, strategic patience. She straightened further. I have learned from this defeat more than I learned from 72 victories. Perhaps losing was necessary for my growth as warrior. Murmurs rippled through the council. Such admission from their former champion showed remarkable maturity. Drevin spoke again. And your relationship with the human, what is it now? Valara and Marcus exchanged glances. We are exploring what we might become, Valara answered. Not as victor and defeated, but as equals who found unexpected connection. You would bond with an alien. I would bond with one who has proven himself worthy through our own traditions of combat. His species matters less than his character. The council deliberated for several minutes in Carvathi language too rapid for Marcus to follow. Finally, Drevin spoke. This council has decided. Marcus Kane's victory is officially recognized. Commander Valara's handling of her defeat shows honor that reflects well on our traditions. As for their relationship, he paused. Our laws are clear. Warriors who prove themselves through combat have right to choose their bonds. Marcus Kane has proven himself. If Valara chooses him, that is her right. Relief flooded through Marcus. Drevin continued. However, understand this. You both now carry weight of expectation. Your relationship will be observed, analyzed, judged. How you conduct yourselves will influence how our peoples view each other. Do not take this lightly. We understand, Marcus said. We accept the responsibility, Valara added. The meeting concluded with formal acknowledgement of their status, not quite bonded, but officially recognized as exploring that possibility. It was unprecedented, but Carvathi law supported it. Outside the chamber alone finally, Marcus and Valara looked at each other. That went better than expected, Marcus said. It did, though the real challenge begins now. Living under scrutiny while trying to build something genuine. Are you ready for that? Her markings glowed with determined gold. I have fought battles my entire life. This is simply new battlefield. One I did not expect, but one I am willing to face. She touched his arm. With you. Then we face it together. Over the following months, they did exactly that. Their relationship became model for what human Carvathi cooperation could look like. They trained together, combining their different martial styles into something unique. Valara learned to appreciate human strategic thinking, while Marcus benefited from her superior physical techniques. They navigated cultural differences, her directness, his complexity, her honor-based worldview, his diplomatic subtlety. There were conflicts and misunderstandings, difficult conversations and moments of frustration, but they faced them as equals. Marcus's diplomatic mission succeeded beyond initial hopes. His victory and subsequent relationship with Valara opened doors that careful negotiation alone never could have. Humans were no longer seen as soft outsiders, but as species possessing different but equally valid strengths. Valara found herself growing beyond her previous identity. No longer just the undefeated champion, she became something more. Bridge between two cultures, warrior who evolved beyond narrow definitions of strength. A year after their match, they returned to the arena together for exhibition match. Not opponents this time, but partners demonstrating their combined abilities. They moved in perfect synchronization, human strategy merging with Carvathi power in display that left crowds amazed. Afterward, standing together before thousands, Valara made announcement. 1 year ago, I made wager I never expected to honor. Today, I make another declaration, one I give with full intent. She turned to Marcus. I choose to bond with Marcus Kane. Not because he defeated me in combat, though he did. Not because of obligation, though that existed. I choose him because he has shown me that worth is measured in many ways, that strength includes patience and persistence, that connection between different beings can create something stronger than either alone. Her markings glowed brilliant gold, purest expression of respect and love in Carvathi visual language. Marcus took her hand. I accept your choice and offer mine in return. I choose you, Valara. For your strength, your honor, your willingness to grow beyond what you thought you were. You challenged me to prove my worth, and in doing so, showed me yours. The crowd's response was overwhelming. What had begun as controversial now felt right. Two warriors from different worlds finding each other through combat and building something meaningful from that foundation. That evening, alone in their shared quarters, they'd combined living spaces months ago, Valera asked Marcus the question that had been on her mind. "Do you ever regret it, accepting my challenge that day?" Marcus pulled her close. "Never, not for one moment. Your challenge made me prove what I was capable of. Your wager made me think about what I truly valued, and winning." He smiled. "Winning gave me you. You won more than you expected. We both did." He kissed her. What started as combat became respect. What could have been conquest became partnership, and what began as wager became love. Valera's markings glowed with colors that spoke volumes: contentment, joy, deep abiding trust. "You humans have strange ways," she murmured, "and you Carvathi have beautiful ones. Flattery, truth, always truth between us." They stood together, human and Carvathi, bonded pair that represented possibility for their species. Their wager had transformed from simple bet into foundation for connection that bridged two civilizations. Sometimes the greatest victories aren't about winning fights, they're about earning respect. And sometimes the most meaningful connections begin with challenges that push both people beyond their limits. Marcus had taken a chance, fought honorably, and won more than combat. Valera had lost a match but gained something precious: partner who saw her as worthy, respected her strength, and valued her beyond her combat record. Together, they represented the best of what their species could offer each other, all because she made a wager she never expected to lose, and he had the courage to accept it.